Ladies and gentlemen, good day people, good day viewers, good day everyone. My name is MC Dapsy, your YouTube historic entertainer. You may have heard of a hunter who got married to two wives of different character, one with hot temper, one with cool temper. At the point they had fights, they quarrel, and then they were disowned by their husband, the hunter, and then they both turned to rivers of different temperature, streams of different temperature. My people, ladies and gentlemen, that is not true. It's a big lie. You want to know the real truth behind this story, behind this Ikangosi warm spring? Stay tuned to this YouTube channel. Stay tuned to this channel. I bet you I'll be dishing out the real story, the real historic fact behind Ikangosi warm spring. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel to support us. Thank you. There are three mystical things that you need to know about Ikangosi warm spring. First is the two trees, mystical trees that grew together, the palm tree and the mahogany. And you all know a palm tree does not allow another tree to grow at its side. It never allows it. But this tree allows another mahogany to grow at its spot together with it. I'm going to talk about that. The number two is the meeting point of this warm and cold water at a spot, and they never mixed together. And three is the healing power of those four streams. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go on the ride. There's this man called Awoperege. He originated from Ile-Ife. Yes, he's one of the great grandchildren of Oduduwa. So he has two wives. First one is Awele, and the second one, Awele, she's very cool. And the second one is Ainoruson, the hot-tempered wife. You know, in those days when you get married, you have to move from where you got married to a far place into a forest in order to start a new life. That's what they do in those days. To settle down and then form another family. From there it grows to clan. From there it goes to a big town and all. That's how they move. That's how they develop around the world. So this man who called Awoperege with his two wives, they moved from Ile-Ife. They moved down to Ikangosi where they settled. So this man, in order to feed his family, of course, Awoperege, he does hunting. He's a farmer. He's a palm wine tapper, and then lastly, he's a traditional healer. The major work he does is a traditional healer. Yes, that's his major work. Whenever he wants to heal, he invokes cold water. If it is a cold water they would need. Whenever he wants to heal, if it is a warm water, he invokes warm water from the rock and then uses it to heal. That's what he does. And then he doesn't just invoke this water naturally. You know what we do, you know what it means. It's some sort of supernatural power. With that, he was able to enter into a covenant with this deity where he got this supernatural power of healing from. So he entered into a covenant that when he's going to, the deity made him swear that when he's going to die, that is the hunter Awoperege, when he's going to die, that he is going to turn to water. Yes, that not just him, together with his two wives and his first son. Yes, this covenant is binding on himself, the hunter Awoperege, his son, and his two wives. Yes, the name of his son is Nkongun Olosun Ikangosi. That's the name of the son, Olosun Ikangosi, which means the village that is settled at the left-hand side. Yes, and that town was later named after the son, Olosun Ikangosi. So it was later named after him. So that's just by the way. So we have four streams. The hunter, that's the covenant they entered into. That they're going to turn into, by the time they're about to die, they will enter into the rock and turn into water of different temperatures. So the hunter himself, when he was about to die, he entered into the rock and turned into a very warm water. While his son Ikangosi entered into the rock when he was about to die and turned into a mildly warm water. That's the second one. While the first wife, Aweli, she's a cool one, dark in complexion. When she wanted to die, she turned into a very cold water. While the second wife, Ainorusu, turned into a mildly cold water. So we have four streams of water which met together to become two and then later met to become one. So I'll be showing you the video. Just take a look at the video shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have more to show you. So take a look at this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are still live at Ikangosi warm spring, where warm and cold water meet at a point. But before the cold water and the warm water meet, there's also a pre-meeting point of a mildly cold water and a very cold water, even before the cold water and the warm water meet. So this point is where a mildly cold water and a very cold water meet. This one is mildly cold. This one is mildly cold. This part is mildly cold. You can see some stones, few stones that are there, and it's lighter than this, which is very cold water. This is very cold. This one is coming from, like as we are told, 2 miles away. So it's got some deep rooted herbs in it, turning the color of the water into brownish color, and it has more stones, bigger stones underneath. This one is very cold, while this one is mildly cold. So this point is their meeting point of a mildly cold water and a very cold water before they take the path down to the point where the warm water and the cold water meets. So this is a pre-meeting point of the mildly cold water and then the very cold water. Stay tuned. We are moving on to where the very warm water and mildly warm water also meet before going to the general meeting point. Here we have the meeting point of the slightly warm water and then the very warm water. Initially I showed you the slightly cold water and then the very cold water meeting point. And this point is where slightly warm water meets with very warm water. This point, let me show you. This point is where we have the very warm water coming from. Look at the source coming from down that side. This is the source. This is the source. While at this point, this other side, coming to this side, we have mildly warm water. This is the source. This is the source. So at this point now, going forward, the very hot water and then the mildly warm water, the very warm water rather, and the mildly warm water meet at this point. At this point, yes, before they move down to the meeting point before they move down to the general meeting point, where we have the warm and then the cold spring. Ladies and gentlemen, there's more to this historic attract. I tell you, Nigeria, Ekiti State, got a lot of things, a lot of historic attracts. So stay tuned to my YouTube channel as we dish out to you a lot more about Ikangosi warm spring. Now, Ikangosi is where 2 different water of different temperature meet together. In this place, this is the point where we have the warm water, the part of the warm water coming from, and then we have the part of the cold water coming from this part. Yeah, this is the part of the cold water. So when the 2 come together from that way to this place, they met at this point. This is the meeting point. And then the funny thing about this thing is that, or let me say, the mysterious thing about this natural attract is that they do not mix. despite their meeting points, they do not mix together. Let's take a look at the color of the water. This is the warm water coming from this part. Look at it. Look at the color. The color is a bit brighter, and I want you to look at the things under, the stones under. You can see it's stone. It's full of stone underneath. You can see it is clear. That is that of the warm water coming from this part. And then the other side, which is my left hand side, we have the cold water. We have the cold water. Look at it. What we have under the cold water is we have more stones, big stones, and then the cold water is colored. Like I said earlier, looking at this warm water, the warm water is more of sand. We have small few stones there, more of sand, and it's cleaner and clearer, while the cold water is colored and it has more stones underneath. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the meeting point of the cold and then the warm spring. And then as it is like this, if we move on, let's move on. Let's take a look. At this point, we still have the warm water coming through. This point, we have the cold water still coming through. But at this place, the cold water is taking a larger part. The warm water is taking a larger part of this scene. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the natural attract, and I'm loving what I'm saying. In fact, it's inexplainable, as you can't explain what it is like. Ladies and gentlemen, it's fun here in Ikangosi. At this point, we still have some parts. Majorly, we still have some parts of the cold water here, and then the warm water is taking larger part of it. It's taking a larger part at this point. This is the cold water here. Just at this point, this is a no-go area. You don't go beyond this point. This is the topmost part of Ikangosi warm spring, where you don't go beyond the point. This point where I am videoing right now, it's where the topmost part that leads to the rock of the source of this water. While we have the warm water taking a larger part, ladies and gentlemen, we will just get it started. It's the tip of an iceberg. We still have lots more to dish out to my viewers. Just stay tuned to this YouTube channel. I bet you wouldn't want to leave. Ladies and gentlemen, look at these two trees. This is their roots. This is the one on my right hand side is that of a palm tree, while the one on my left hand side is a mahogany tree. If you look at it, this tree grew together at the same spot. You can see the roots. They grew together at the same spot, which is very rare. But the so exciting thing about those two trees is that they have been there since inception, since the beginning. Since the inception of this cold and warm spring. Then if you look closely at the color, look how tall they are. Let me take a step back, some steps back rather, and then see how tall they are. That's it. The two trees, the mahogany and then the palm tree. I believe we can see it. Yes. Another interesting thing about these two trees, I want you to note that. Look closely at the color of this palm tree. Yes. Then look closely at the color of this cold water. Do you see any semblance? Yes, I can see some semblance. They are both brownish in color. Then look again at the color of this mahogany tree. It has a mixed color. It has some grass growing on it, and then look at the color closely. Yes, and I wanted to look at the color of this warm spring. The stones underneath. You can see it's having stones underneath, some few stones underneath. It's more of sand though, but there are a few stones underneath, colored stones. Yes, there's a semblance also of the stones with that of the mahogany tree. Yes, I want you to note that. It's so exciting here in Ikangosi, and learned a lot about the historic facts of Ikangosi warm spring. It's fun being here anyways, and we always love to come here anytime, any day. Nigeria, Ekiti State is full of natural attracts that will wow you. Thank you very much. God bless.
We are still on Ikangosi warm spring mystery and the might about it. So now to the healing power of Ikangosi warm spring. We have 4 streams. The first wife, Aweli, returned to a very cold water. This very cold water is a colored water. It's coming from miles away from the forest. Yes, and it has some roots in it. That's why you have it that colored brown. So this water can be used to heal back pain. It can be used to heal pie. Yes, if you're having pie, when you take the water, it heals the pie and it heals the back pain. That's the cold, very cold water, which the first wife Awele turned into. While the second stream, which is the second wife, I know Rusu, that's mildly cold water. That one is colorless. Yes, it can be used to cure malaria and slight fever. If you're having slight fever, if you're having malaria, yes, that colorless, slightly cold water can be used to cure that. While moving on to the father, that is the hunter, our Perege himself, the very warm water which the father, our Perege, the hunter, turned into, can be used to cure skin diseases. Yes, skin diseases, any form of skin infections. Yes, the very warm water can be used to cure that. While the mildly warm water, which the son, Nkongosi, Olosun Nkongosi, turned into, can be used. That can be used for a spiritual fortune, like destiny, for good destiny. So all of these 4 streams of water have their own healing power. Now, and it's not that the wives do not have other children. They do have other children. Yes, but the covenant was binding majorly on these ones. That's why they turned into the 4 streams, and then which later turned into 2 streams at the various meeting points, and then later to 1 at the major meeting point. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I hope this has been so educative, informative, and entertaining at the same time. So, if you do like this video, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then also hit the like button. Also, don't forget to drop comments so we can know how far we are going, how far we are doing. Yes, thank you very much. We love you. I remain yours truly, MC Dafsi, your YouTube historic entertainer. More is still to come. Thank you. Love you.